episode of Journeys from Lagos to Brooklyn.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
All right, all right.
We are live and direct.
We are. I'm so excited to be here. A little sadness. So I just want to remind everybody where we are. We are streaming live from Amarachi Lounge, located at 189 Bridge Street. On the Brooklyn side by the Manhattan Bridge. Come and visit us. Today, though, I have like this sad announcement to make that my co-host Peter Gordon is not going to be joining us today or in the immediate future. Frankly, I think Bub's carried him away.
Listen. Yo, why you gonna say that? Come on, that's internal stuff. I hope Peter's not watching right now.
I love Peter and I want him to be here, but no, congratulations. Peter is an awesome businessman. He owns one of his many small businesses is a construction company, and he has an awesome contract that is going to prevent him from making it all the way into Brooklyn at 4 o'clock. So he says.
Look, I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. You know, I mean, I'm not that bad. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're not. So, let's just talk about a few things. Oh, thank you. So, we're live in the restaurant. You may hear a little noise coming from our busy kitchen where you can order food on Grubhub.
Thanks for the thumb up.
Everywhere else, I can't remember where else. Where's coming from?
Don't worry about the restaurant. Let's get on with our show.
Let's talk about it. There's so much to talk about today. I don't know where to start. Let's see. What do you want to talk about, Bob?
Okay, there's something disturbing my spirit. It's still disturbing my spirit. Donald Trump won't leave fucking office.
Yeah,
I can't take it.
Yeah,
I mean, is there any level to which he won't stoop to? I mean, he is beyond every disgraceful level there is.
Yeah,
when it comes to being a man, a president, whatever. Like, this man has no morals whatsoever.
Yeah, I would have to agree, but I'm not surprised. So he did all the, like a good storybook. He did all the foreshadowing, letting us know that if the election didn't go the way he saw it, he was going to throw a temper tantrum and he was not coming out.
Listen, it's not even, to piggyback off what you're saying, he's told us he was going to do this from day one. Absolutely. He's told us exactly how this was going to play out, that he was going to lose by the post office. Mm-hmm. He didn't want those ballots. He didn't want them from day one because he knew what the studies show. The studies show that Democrats usually use the post office.
Right, the mail-in votes.
They use the mail-in votes. Mm-hmm. And that after a few days, as these votes come in, the disparity between the lead he had and what eventually will become will dissipate. So he's already told us he was afraid of this. That's why he installed this guy there to try to destroy the whole system. It didn't quite work. I think it worked in Florida, quite frankly. And these guys cheated anyway. Like, I know they cheated. They just cheated by nature. It just
didn't do a good job.
For us, they didn't do that good of a job.
Yeah, let's back up and talk about the United States Postal Service. So when I talk about the foreshadowing that Donald Trump did, he did hire one of his goons to supervise the United States Postal Service, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the first things that they did that I know of, because I frequent the post office in the city, is that they did a bit of downsizing, cut people's hours. I even noticed that I go to the post office on 53rd and 3rd Avenue, and during the height of the pandemic, they had awesome PPE. They were wearing the N95 masks. They had on glasses, and they even had like this clear film that was over each one of their cubicles, so that when you went in, they had a level of protection. That was taken off. But months ago, they started noticing how slow the mail is. So if you have an election that's coming up where you're doing mail-in ballots, obviously, if the deadline for New York City, I think, was October 27th, if you mailed in a ballot before October 27th or on October 27th, it's not going to reach there by November 3rd in order for it to get counted. So all of this hokey pokiness that he's doing, where he's saying, "Oh, any ballot that arrives after November 3rd is illegal." Makes no sense.
But what does he think he's gonna run this game on? Like, what are we in a banana republic? Seriously.
70 million people who believe
He
it.
said, "Okay, stop. I want you to stop voting. Stop counting." And then we're supposed to just stop counting because he said so.
Well, I think he thinks because he's the acting president that he has the ability to
just cheat blatantly like that. Yeah?
He's cheated at everything. And he still has. You have to think about this. There are 70 million people who voted for him. They clearly believe him. There's 77 million who didn't.
I don't even know how to take that.
Yeah, there's 77 million. And I think there was another.
I'm telling you, I don't believe
you don't
we
believe
got 70 million. I just don't believe it. I think they rigged the polls. They rigged the machines. The machine. Listen, the Republicans have had contracts out on these machines. Dynacorp or DataCorp. Trust me, I did the research. These guys, their boys make these machines.
Right.
They understand how to rig these machines.
Right.
That, to me, is the reason why we lost some congressional seats. Mm-hmm. And the Senate was so hard. These Republicans were an abject failure. How did they pick up seats? These guys didn't campaign. Their poll numbers were terrible. Everything was terrible. And all of a sudden, they just went in.
It's those 70 million voters.
I don't believe it.
Well, I think I do, because another statistic that they talked about was, and I don't remember which state, but there was a state that had a law that was up for renewal or dismissal regarding slavery. And the statistic that they showed was 53% of white women voted to have that law upheld. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of person in this day and age in 2020 would vote for a law to still be active?
Yeah, but you see, Trump is them. The guys, you see, Mitch McConnell doesn't have what Trump has. Trump is just a vile, horrible person. And some people, that turns them on. Mitch McConnell doesn't have that factor, that it factor, right?
Right.
So I don't see him garnering the same level of support Donald Trump's. In fact, they're all afraid of him because they think he can make or break them. So, even though I don't believe they did this fairly, there's nothing legally we can do about it, so we accept it. They need to understand that even though they may think, which
we did not,
has been refuted,
right?
There wasn't any cheating going on. There's nothing you can do about it.
And that's the point that they're pointing out. So in the last election, 2016, the Democratic Party swore up and down that there was illegal business, that Trump hijacked the election. But what they've been showing is the comparison of how quickly the Democrats, even though they didn't believe what happened, they conceded for democracy, so that we could go on.
And that's literally the history of the Democratic. The Democrats always try to play fair, and they're unfortunately their enemy, the Republicans, never play fair. So every advantage the Republicans can get over the Democrats, they take it. And the Democrats need to start understanding they have to change their strategy. And I'm also not happy about the fact that the centrists and the progressives in the Democratic Party are fighting each other. You cannot blame the progressives for your losses. If anything, we wouldn't be here without the progressives. The Republicans would have danced on our graves a long time ago.
I agree.
Because they have nothing to offer in terms of defending themselves against these vile, nasty Republicans. These centrist Democrats are damn near Republicans, so they just go with the flow.
Right.
There's some progressives that put up every fight along the way, and then they have the nerve to blame them for when things don't go well in the party. So, we got a little fight ahead. It doesn't look good going into 2021. You have the Democratic Party fighting amongst itself, but we do need to get along with this transition. The national security of this country depends on it.
No,
Donald Trump right now is not working. All he's doing is sitting at home playing with Twitter. He's not working anymore.
Well, no. So today, I wanted to bring this up because I was talking to a friend of mine about everybody who's up in arms. Everyone's filed for, like, all these new people put in applications to bear arms, which is your right. But a lot of people who obtain guns cannot get ammunition. So ironically today, the Trump administration informs Congress of their intent to sell $23 billion in arms to the UAE. That was released today. So they are still working. I also believe they're part of this this urgency to make the vaccine mandatory for everyone. So that's still happening under the Trump administration. And I don't know, in New York, there was a resolution presented this past Saturday that goes to the final vote this week that says every New Yorker, regardless of your religion, personal opinion, you have to have this vaccine. And if you don't have the vaccine, and that's when it's available, right? If you don't take the vaccine, you could lose your job. You could lose your right to travel, leave the country outside of New York. You could have your kids taken out of school or even taken away from you. Because now with the school system, as far as I know, the testing for the coronavirus is mandatory for kids who are in school.
Yeah,
so how do you feel about that?
The testing goes, once again, all these things could be done when you have a society that believes in its government. And what we had in the past several years is a society that didn't trust its government. So it's not going to be much harder to convince people to take vaccines. But as Peter used to say, if we get lulled to sleep again by the Democrats, you're not gonna see a lot of resistance towards vaccinations because they know how to go about it and make you feel good while they're killing you.
Right, but these vaccinations, and this is what I'm seeing people in social media already confused. So we have a president-elect. He's not doing anything really but trying to get people, members of his cabinet, put together. So I heard someone say, oh, look, the Democrats are already trying to make the vaccine mandatory. Hello, no, this is happening under Trump.
Yeah.
In the last 60-something days.
To some degree, we're all very misinformed or underinformed as far as the process. And Trump is taking a back to the process anyway. So things that would be normal are no longer norms. So, I mean, what do we know at this point? You know what I mean? I mean, Pfizer wasn't part of the group that Trump selected to come up with the vaccination.
Right.
But they're still trying to take credit for it.
And so Moderna just came out, I think it was yesterday, and now they say that they might have a vaccine ready by the end of the year as well.
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, I'm still drinking my sea moss ginger. And if they don't force me to take a vaccine, I'm not taking the vaccine. And being that I'm a small business owner, what's going to be the criteria? You would have to say that I can't, you can't come renew my business or, come downtown or get, unless I'm vaccinated. I mean, and then obviously I have a decision to make. But, for a civilian, if they mandate that for you to go to work, you got to take that vaccine.
Well, they can get you too because you have children. And if your children are not homeschooled, that's how they get you.
Oh. Our sub-in producer of the day is helping us out. We've had some technical difficulties, so he's giving me some pointers while we're live.
I don't know.
No. But once again, we're happy to be back. It's been very shaky. Just a lot's been going on. We haven't been on in the manner with which, I think last week we cut the show short.
We started early last week.
But things are calming down, and we're really going to build this. We're going to be here.
Yeah.
We're going to sign some deals with some people to be on larger platforms.
I know, that's going to be exciting.
We're actually, stuff is happening. Stuff is happening. and believe me, I really appreciate you all that reach out to me and encourage me about having this show and doing this show, and also your willingness to come on the show. to be a part of it and showcase whatever ideas, businesses, or what have you to the world. And we're going to continue doing that. That's really the format of the show. The show is here to put us out there, not me and Donatella, but us as a people, our ideas, our voices, our opinions. So look forward to more of that. But we do need some help. We need you to like the page. We need your comments. We want to interact with you. We can see your comments live. We want to respond. It also helps the show along. If there's some points that you guys want us to talk about, we would love to see it. We'd love to hear about it. So please give us some interaction. We feed off of it. We love it. And we move on to chapter 2.
Okay, so what topic are we going to talk about now?
You had a whole list.
I know, I sent it to you.
Come on, man. I just set you up nicely. And you just crazy.
Okay. So I didn't, but I'm feeding off of you today. It's all Peter's fault. I'm blaming him for everything at the last minute, letting us know he's not going to be here. So I think let's talk about the upcoming Black Restaurant Week. That's important.
Okay. So yes, I did. I was on CNBC a few weeks ago. I did a shoot for them talking about the importance of Black Restaurant Week, especially during this time where it's really hard, to operate and run a business. As you see, many businesses have shut down. And just last night, our governor created some new rules for us to abide by, which is by 10 p.m., everyone has to be at the restaurant.
Yeah,
so
it's huge.
If you're looking to go out, you want to make your reservation. I think 8 o'clock reservation is pretty much the last time you're going to be able to sit at a restaurant. There's not going to be any kind of late night dining, and frankly, those later hours are when we make our most money. So,
absolutely.
A lot of people are wondering what's the difference between 10 and 11. Is COVID going to all of a sudden start showing up at the door at 11 p.m.? I mean, at 10, that's why they're cutting the hours. So we still don't understand the reasoning behind their adjusted rules. To me, I just think Jersey came out with something, so Cuomo felt as New York, he needed to come out with something.
Well, Jersey has to come out with something because Jersey has a 19% positivity rate with the coronavirus, with new cases each day. Certain areas in Newark, I think there are 2 different zip codes in themselves have over a 4% positivity rate. And if you ask me, it's because look at all that time that Jersey was open way before everyone else, going against the grain when people were saying maybe they should still be kind of closed.
No, Jersey was closed for a while.
Yeah, they were, but they opened up before us. Inside dining in Jersey was huge. That's why everybody was going across the state line, including myself. I went to Bonefish so I could have inside dining before we opened.
Look, I'm completely biased. I'm not going to front. I just feel a way about it. This affects our ability to survive. It affects my ability to retain employees. It affects my ability to pay bills. It affects my ability to make any kind of income. So yes, I'm not happy about it. We try, as you know, to obey the law and the rules and ask our customers to follow suit, but how long is this going to last? And still yet there has not been a stimulus plan for us in business. They have not given us any grants. They have not given us, people are spending a fortune building these outdoor cubicles and dining areas, and they're not seeing the return. And there are restrictions with that also, and it's also kind of stupid. You see people literally building whole houses on the street, fully enclosed, with no ventilation. How is that better than being in a restaurant? So
very funny you should say that. In New Jersey and in parts of New York City recently, a restaurant came up with the concept dine in a bubble. So they purchased these, plastic tents. It's literally a bubble. Mm-hmm. You can put a family inside, and they can sit there and they are protected from other people. Well, what happened, a restaurant was doing very well with it, and recently members of the state went and closed down the outside dining, had them remove the plastic bubbles, and said that it had to be approved by the CDC or the coronavirus, some type of platform.
Okay.
Because once you're inside a bubble, like I said, there's no ventilation.
Exactly.
Right?
They're just swapping each other's CO2.
Yeah, and that's really what Mayor de Blasio said recently as well, that, even with the inside dining, what it became, and I take that back, not Mayor de Blasio, Governor Cuomo, is that they tried to allow the inside dining, people sitting down, but now the reason why they're closing back up, because it's hard to manage the people when they take off their masks and they're going to the bathroom and they're sitting there talking and everybody else is talking. For me personally, I think the reason why they even let us out was because one, it was summer, people were being frustrated, and can you imagine if we were locked in all summer, nobody was going to vote, and they definitely weren't going to vote for a president who was currently in-house if you're inside all this time. I think they opened up the city, let us out just so we could participate in the election, knowing that, okay, they kept talking about the second wave.
I don't know, because Republicans don't want black people to vote.
But they want themselves to vote. So if everybody's closed down, they can't vote either. So we just won by default.
And then the president won't stay there.
No, but you wouldn't vote for the acting president if you're stuck inside, no stimulus package, no way to work, your kids are at home with you. For what? That would have been 8 months? They'd have killed each other by now.
I don't know. I mean, that's your opinion. I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right.
Think about it. We're really getting a third wave. We're getting double. So we had the second wave because people were outside. The second wave because people were partying. Second wave because people were protesting. Second wave because now people were outside celebrating.
Clearly the spike is election related. Yeah. Clearly, literally it's 7 and 10 days after the election.
Yeah.
And that way everybody's outvoted. That's why everybody got corona.
Absolutely.
It's exactly this. That's clearly what happened. And what kills me is that no one is gonna say anything until like 2 weeks from now.
No, they're saying it now.
Oh, okay. They
are saying. Okay. They're saying it's
the media is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's directly related to all the good times and the partying that we were having in the streets this weekend celebrating Biden winning.
But the biggest difference is that people are not dying the same type of numbers. So
yeah, that's what they said.
Yes, there's huge hospitalizations, and people are catching it, and they're tested, they're asymptomatic, and people just not dying. And that was the biggest issue. The biggest thing about it was the deaths. You losing your dad, me losing my brother. That did, as we see now, that didn't need to happen.
Right.
And that's what's most upsetting, and that's what's has me furious about our current president, and as to why he should be fired from his job. Because if he was doing his job, this could have been avoided. A lot less people.
Yeah, and how?
Died.
Yeah, how do you make up for that loss?
You cannot make up for loss.
And that's my
you cannot. And then and that's part of the process of healing. You see, him being fired and him being held accountable is part of our process of justice. And the longer this prolongs itself, this stalemate, I'm going to stay here against the will of the world, the harder it is to heal, because it's like a rock sitting on your chest.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you heard that Trump is now talking about starting rallies and going state to state to kind of...
That's what's going to start the Civil War.
Yeah. Well, I think... I'm hoping it's not that dramatic, but I think there's supposed to be some convoy now that's heading from... I don't know if it's from somewhere down south in Florida, and they're driving all the way up to D.C., all of these Trump supporters, to show their support that the election... They
got nothing better to do with their lives.
Yeah, with all their flags. Okay, so let's move on to the fact that now they're talking about 2024 already, and guess who they said is going to run? Trump's son.
if he's not locked up.
Well, that's why I think he wants to leave the country, right? If you flee the country, you can't be prosecuted. Are they going to really try to extradite him if he leaves?
They just need to go. At the end of the day, they just need to go. Like, you know, there are countries that if they went to South America, if they went to some parts of Europe, they could establish their businesses and they'll be revered. Let them go to those countries.
Yeah, but I don't care what anybody says. Most Americans don't want to leave the United States and go and start over.
Well, he's going to have to face Miss Letitia James if he stays in the U.S.
Well, you know what they said? I was watching, was it Chris Cuomo's show last night? Someone made the comment they don't know if he's going to come back and concede and try to face the music so that Pence can pardon him before the new...
That has nothing to do with the state. He could get all the federal... Yes, they could pardon all his federal iniquities, but he still has to deal with the state. And Miss Letitia James and Mario Cuomo... is his name Mario even?
I didn't know what...
I don't even know his name.
Oh, who?
Our governor.
I don't know his first name. We're not on first name. I know Chris's name just because he's cuter. I like Chris. Chris is my boyfriend.
You know, but yeah, the state. He got a lot of questions to answer in New York State, and they're gonna go after him. So I'll tell you, a lot of people died. A lot of people suffered. A lot of people are angry.
Yeah,
I mean, just the shit. Saturday when they announced his loss, I mean. Just to see people dancing, beating pans in the street, you know,
and all colors, all colors. And I'll be the first one to admit, I'm Democratic. A lot of people are not dancing because Biden's their favorite. You know, Biden's who they wanted to win. A lot of people just wanted anybody other than Trump.
Absolutely, but you know, listen, let's give Biden credit though, in that. He's a statesman. He understands the moment and allows the moment to happen. He doesn't try to jump the moment. Like he's not trying to cloak himself in this glory. He's just taking it one day at a time. He's just taking it in stride. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that he's not trying to hijack the whole thing. He understands that this is more about the country needing change rather than the country needing him. And in doing that, his soft-handedness is exactly what we need. Someone that's actually wanting to listen to the American people, that wants to listen, that wants to play by the rules.
Absolutely.
We can appreciate that.
I think so as well. I don't know what's in our immediate future, so we have, from a local situation, we have our partial lockdown for all restaurants starting tomorrow. And I'd like to spend some time just talking about how consumers can help their businesses. I think proactively, people need to start thinking about how they're going to plan to feed their families at night. You know, most restaurants, well, all restaurants have to close at 10 p.m., meaning in terms of their doors, you're not allowed to come inside. Don't be that customer that goes to your favorite restaurant.
At 9:59.
9:50, 9:30, or shows up at 10 and says, but I come every night or every weekend. You got to go out earlier. You can still order carry out from a lot of restaurants. I think for us, we're going to be closing the doors, period, at 10 o'clock, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, there'll be definitely no new customers.
So that means put your order
I look at us trying to get people out, you know, accordingly before 10 o'clock. That's just how I see it playing out. I mean, and you know, like you said, how to help customers, how to help your restaurant.
Yeah.
Send in your orders. You know, text
carry
us.
out. Yeah.
You know, text your restaurant. Hey, listen, you know, while you're on Saturday, I need, you know, I'm having a small gathering at my house. You know, send them your order. You know, give them time to make your order because, you know, at 10 o'clock Saturday night, it's going to be crazy. So don't wait till then to put your orders in. Don't wait till then to get your food. The dull times for restaurants are the times, if you want to help a restaurant, between the hours of 12 to 5, that's when you go support. You know, they need it then more than any other time. Those hours where people are out shopping and the rush is not there. put your orders in, go in there, order carry out, take out. You can even dine in. They probably have room. They're probably not busy at all. So let's try to not let this hurt the restaurants too much by adjusting our hours. Instead of having your dinner event at 7, push it up to 2 o'clock. Make it a daytime thing. And then at nighttime, you all are at home. So there are definitely ways to help, move the hours around to help our businesses survive this.
I think another thing people can do, you go out to restaurants, you have a great time, take a moment to create a review on Yelp. That works well. People are always searching online, trying to see where to dine. Post a picture of your favorite dish. Share it on your social media. Those are just little ways that you can help your business.
There is no greater thing you can do for a restaurant than to give it a 5-star review on any platform. Obviously, you can cause great harm to a restaurant doing the reverse. People are watching, and unfortunately, a lot of people do take out their frustrations on restaurants with these social media platforms. Personally, especially for Black businesses, I just wouldn't do it. I'm just not. I'd rather try to contact management or ownership and have a conversation with them and let them know. Because, like I said, a lot of times, the owners, their name is on that restaurant. These owners are working so hard to put out a product. And you may have someone working for you that may or may not necessarily fully execute your plan. And sometimes you may need to let go of that person, but it doesn't mean your whole business needs to close down. People people wish the worst for you. You don't need to be in business because their calamari was 30 minutes late. You should die. Your kids should never go to school. Guys, be reasonable. I'm sure you go to work and you screw up all the time, and no one's calling for your kids to die, and you lose your job and you never get another job again. Come on, stop being ridiculous.
But I think we have to acknowledge everyone's sense of time is important. Everyone's feelings count. But I think sometimes, especially given with restaurants, when people are hungry, they're not their regular selves. That's why you have those barrage of commercials talking about people who are hangry and they turn into somebody else. I know the feeling. And it's not really until that hunger is satisfied that they're able to kind of take it down a notch. And then sometimes it's just people who are not used to going out.
And believe it or not, it does make a difference if you tell your server, listen, I'm very hungry. And that server is going to go. Listen, they'll go find some bread in the back. They'll find some fries.
I've done it before. I've brought people.
So yes, rather than you sit there and curse them out or curse their family or let them know you're really hungry. And anything they can do to help the process, you appreciate it. And that's just a quick little tip. An inside tip, because the servers do come to the kitchen and say, "Yo, my customer's really, really, really hungry. You guys really gotta, help me get this food out." And every little bit helps. But yes, definitely. So we're going into this weekend. You have Black Restaurant Week coming up.
Shorter restaurant.
We have a lot of institutions are really pushing it, and I'm very happy because 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we didn't have this. I just got a whole packet of paraphernalia to put out and buttons and all this cool stuff. And we appreciate these companies that are stepping up and trying to help us out. We really appreciate it.
So I want to change subject just for a second. I know you haven't had a chance to look. We have a great chat group. I think everybody belongs to some type of chat group, whether it's texting or WhatsApp, Facebook, some type of group. I would recommend that people join a group that also enlightens your mind, right? So there are tons of chat groups that have nothing but slackness, but I'm happy to say that I'm a member of a couple different groups where we try to learn different things. So a good friend of mine named Janice, who swears she's not on social media, but always sends me really good things, sent me an amazing story, a YouTube link, about a group of people who recently purchased an entire town in Georgia. Mm-hmm. So 19 people got together and used their combined credit, their combined wealth to buy 99 acres of land in Georgia. And so within that project, what they did, which is everybody's talking about generational wealth and spending black dollars and keeping black dollars in the community. And there's no better way to do that than combining your creditworthiness with other people that you trust, first of all, and then making these different moves to kind of better yourself. And so in this particular instance, there's a group, and I don't want to misquote their name since I'm sharing it. I really liked it. Let's see, where is it? So it was 19 black families purchased 97 acres to build a community. And I'm going to give you the name of the YouTube link just because I think it's really good. Let's see, what's the name of this group? Earn Your Leisure. So we don't just promote ourselves, we promote other successful platforms. So Earn Your Leisure is on YouTube. They also have a university, which I really like. So it was good-looking brothers and sisters combined together. They have an online university where you can register for these classes. They teach you how financial wealth. They teach you how to get into the real estate business. But they were featuring this other group that bought this town. And what's so cool about it is the area is in DeKalb County, 97 acres. There were 36, if I'm correct, 36 different pieces of real estate and property that they purchased. They have the ability right now, there was a term that they used, and I know I'm going to say it wrong. There's incorporated town, which means that it's recognized as a city and they're already getting state taxes. This wasn't incorporated. And so the great thing about it was that you can put in all this infrastructure yourself, but you're not quite ready to have the benefits from taxation because it's not recognized as a city. And they're doing all this stuff together, and I thought that was amazing because a couple of years ago, I sat in here and spoke to Jonathan and one of his frat brothers, who I cannot remember his name, but one of the things that he was really big on doing was crowdfunding. And he explained to me that one of the weaknesses in our community, meaning the black and brown community, is that we don't operate like a lot of Jewish people. So you see these buildings that are owned by a lot of Orthodox Jews. And the way that they do that is they combine their wealth, they get together and they buy these buildings. And so what Jonathan's friend said to me was that you can use crowdfunding. If we got together, let's say 4 or 5 of us, and we put our credit worthiness together, me by myself, maybe I only can get approved for a $500,000 mortgage. Yeah. But if it's 4 or 5 of us, we're now talking about several million. And so that's what they did. They bought this 97 acres for $1.6 million combined together.
See, we have to first get over this crabs in the barrel syndrome, because the problem with partnerships is that people are too concerned proving they have more than their best friend. Yeah. You know, it's like, oh, I got more money than you. I got a bigger car. I got more. Rather than, like you said, it's not about what I got or, you know, how big my house is. Is let's combine our assets and do something together. And we still don't have that real sense of family. And I really think this is a psychological problem that through our experience of oppression has caused us to be very defensive about partnerships and working with, I mean, think about it. How many black corporations do you see merging? Right. It's just not in our nature. We just like to own or buy a brand new car and drive it to the hood and show off. Like, that's just, you know,
what they call short-term goals.
You know, or buy $300 sneakers to wear to school to show off against kids that can't afford it. Like, this is it's embedded into our psyche. We have to find a way to undo that, undo that damage, and then we can start really collectively doing things like that. And same problem in Africa. You know, it's just a continent that big with that many resources. They don't want to partner. They don't want to work together. They're content being disunited, and it's not working. You know, it's not working. And I just don't know if we'll ever get to that point because we are the first to assimilate. We want to assimilate so bad into greater society. We do not want to stay part of that black subculture. The minute we get a chance to break out into, the world, we're ready to take it. So I don't know if we'll ever put the emphasis that it needs in developing our own society. That's why the Chinese are going into Africa and developing our own societies. Because we're too busy trying to get out of Africa, try to come to America, try to go to Europe. And those of us here are not doing enough. All we're doing is going to buy land.
Right.
It just sits there. Or we build a house. It just sits there.
Yeah.
Where's the business? Where's the industry? Too many people are starving. Too many people don't have anything to do. You're telling me Nigeria couldn't manufacture masks?
Right.
We couldn't manufacture gloves?
Of course. And of course, instead of getting them from China, you're absolutely right.
How come the government or businessmen don't think about these things? But rather than us manufacture, what we're going to do is, I got to connect with China.
Yeah.
We can get it real cheap, ship it to Nigeria. And our thinking is wrong. Our whole system is wrong. And it's just frustrating because how does this end? How does it ever get better? If this country, it's a fascinating question. Would we want our country within America, like they're building these communities in Georgia? What if they gave us 10 states? Would we be willing
to all relocate
and go?
I would have to say if it's and then I was gonna say if it within that 10 state everybody's like me, but we couldn't do that either because I know I'm a little bit insane. I just don't know. I think some of us are still our biggest enemies, whether it's to the point that we are too busy competing with one another to help.
I'm not moving if Johnny Bro wants to drive his car at 2 miles an hour, strolling down the block with his custom-made sound system, blasting 2 Chainz at 1 o'clock in the morning. Or any time of day, or JoJo and them on their motorcycles doing popping wheelies.
Is that part of the culture, though?
Man.
Is it? I'm guilty. My roof isn't working right now, but when it is, I have my roof down. I have the music the way I want it.
That shit be so annoying.
But that's just because you don't like it.
Yes, I don't.
Well, so there's gotta be something.
So maybe I won't go. Maybe I won't.
Maybe we'll put all the
because
bikers
on things that I just can't do. I just can't do it.
Is that the problem? You can't pop a wheelie. That's why you don't like it.
No, I used to pop wheelies as a kid.
Okay,
not as a
big wheel. That's different.
No, I used to have bikes as a kid. Not as an adult. Yeah, or these. I mean, what kills me is like people put these huge silencers on their cars to make extra noise.
Well, I'm one of those people. So when I had my Honda S2000, I had a cold air manifold on it. It was dropped really low. Yeah, it sounded good. You're changing gears and someone next to you is talking you don't want to hear. You just put your car in neutral and spin your tires. That was me.
Yeah, I don't want to be next to you at all. Stay away from me. I'd rather stay with the white people.
It takes all types. I did it in their neighborhood too. It takes all types.
Or the Indians. I like living with the Indians.
Oh, please. That's who hit my car the other day out in Queens and sideswiped me and then lied to the insurance company.
Of course they will.
That reminds me, as soon as I can get down to
so no, that's a good
court, I'm going to sue them.
This is a fascinating I thought I had. Kamala Harris, this whole Indian and black issue.
Indian Jamaican, yep.
We're going to have to deal with this now for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
We have a real conversation to have with our Dravidian brothers.
Oh, right. And the fact that they don't want us to date them sometimes, their parents.
We need to get to the core. Look, the Chinese have come out and admitted that they all came from Africa. So now, it's kind of like a concession speech. Like, we need now the Indians now to come out and now talk about their history and how it relates to Africa. Mm-hmm. And also, we need to bring light to the minorities, the black minorities in India, in, Southeast Asia, that are being persecuted. They live on, they're ostracized. They live in these little villages, So these are things that I think this is the perfect time.
So you should start that conversation.
Because, yes, Kamala, her mother comes from,
absolutely.
It looks like she comes from these marginalized people.
Yep.
And how much do we embrace them as descendants of Africa or children of Africa, or do they see themselves as such?
Right.
Or how do they see themselves? This is a conversation I would love to have with our brethren.
It sounds like interesting things. For me, I think I remember once I had a crush on a guy who was Indian and Jamaican, and he told me, he said, he really likes black women, but he could not bring a black woman home to his house because they just don't, especially because I was American black and he was Caribbean.
Yeah. And people like to say, like, Kamala's dad was black. No, he was black Indian. He was still Indian. He wasn't black. He wasn't, he wasn't Bob Marley's cousin. He wasn't Buju's cousin.
He was Indian Jamaican.
He was Indian Jamaican, So,
He's so sick.
we need to, get these facts straight. But I accept it. Like, look, and that's what it is about us as a people. We the tent is big.
Right.
As long as you're not trying to kill us.
Right.
More the merrier. It's just the other side always has issues with us.
Well, and I think now though, they do. I think it's going to get uglier before it gets better, especially because now it's getting. Well, I was hoping because it's getting cold and people are typically inside now, right? But they're sitting inside. Some of those people that are filled with hate, they're sitting inside, stewing in their own mess. Every time they turn on the TV, they're seeing Joe Biden, or they're seeing memes.
Well, you see, I think Joe Biden should every day have a press conference. I think he go up there, office up. He absolutely. He got his little bag in the background. 5 minutes every day.
Office of the president of
absolutely. Go up there.
Aggressive though.
That's not aggressive at all.
It is aggressive.
He could just like Mr. Rogers. He could just come say good morning. Go back to his home.
No. That's gonna make it worse.
What? Are you kidding me? Hey America, how are you doing today?
So you trying to
No, I'm not. Listen. We're talking about healing. That will have a very listen.
It'll have a common effect on those.
People got all this accolades for doing the same thing.
Yeah, but he's sitting in office. That is his job.
Okay,
but like the president-elect, there's still people who won't even acknowledge him yet.
Listen. If I were him, I would do that.
Yeah, well, he's not going to do it yet. He doesn't want to be, I don't think he wants to be that aggressive as yet. Now, he said if they keep going to it and not acknowledging him and it's preventing him from filling, his cabinet the way that he needs to be, then he's going to take a different measure. But right now, I'm just more concerned with people are saying that, Trump is sitting inside. He's not doing anything. I guess he came out for the first time like yesterday or did something.
Yeah, he came out and had this moment with the reef. He's such a phony. Yeah, he calls these soldiers losers and they wants to come out there and act like he's getting some juju from the reef and get out of here.
Well, I think he needs to do something because if he stays inside like he's hiding, that's going to be one thing that's not a good look for the president either. But I'll just be happy when we're on to the next step. I'm just wondering how this coronavirus is going to help hurt us as we move to Thanksgiving. And so let's take a moment to just talk about some of the other things they said at a New York State level in regards to family events. So I don't know if you notice, keep it in line with social distancing and trying to reverse this increase in the spread. They're now suggesting, Governor Cuomo said he suggested that people not travel for Thanksgiving. If you have to travel for Thanksgiving, make sure that you practice social distancing and quarantine when you come back. He also said that there should not be any large gatherings. So the number that's been given as approved for a home gathering is 10. So people have to limit their Thanksgiving.
Are they going to have a Thanksgiving task force?
Are they going to have what?
A Thanksgiving task force. It's going to go out and knocking on people's doors.
No, you know what's going to happen? People who want to go Thanksgiving somewhere and they're not invited, they're going to be the people who tell on you, right? So-and-so is having a Thanksgiving. It's 15 people, and she didn't even invite me. Because that's what I'm going to do if y'all invite me.
But no, that's a good question. I'm even thinking, because every year we have Thanksgiving here. Mm-hmm. And Thanksgiving was always a big thing, especially when my brother E was alive. That was his day to cook. Like, he loved cooking.
Yeah, I remember Emmanuel.
And so, you know, I don't want to work at all. I just want to watch football.
Yeah.
And he would cook, and everybody, you know, he could cook his butt off, like, you know. We used to go neck and neck with it, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know who's better. But, so, and then, you know, Brother Joe and Brother Sarah, you know, this was, we ate and watched football, you know, and so this year, with the two of them not being here, of course, mom, dad, and, it's just
a different
and you know, and we usually leave the business open because, you know, we always think about the people that don't have family, you know.
Or the people like me whose family says don't come see us for Thanksgiving because of the Rona.
Yeah, because look, when they were alive, you know, the four brothers, like we felt like, you know, we were a huge family, and then our two sisters, there was 6 of us. Mm-hmm. So we had this robust family that, you know, hey, for those people that don't have, you can always borrow one of us, come and hang out. You know, one of us could be your brother or your sister. You know, just join the party. Mm-hmm. And this year, I still don't want to cook. I don't have E here. Brother Joe, who would remind us of Brother E,
right,
and try to get us to cook because he wasn't cooking.
Right.
You know, but he's bringing cake. You know, he's gonna bring his cake. And of course, the Dallas Cowboys, his favorite team, you know.
I think had practice this year, though.
It didn't matter. That was his team. You know, so this year is just going to be really whack. It's just going to be weird. But it's, you know, so I'm debating if we're still going to be open. And
then the other thing now is I don't know what day Thanksgiving falls on, but they haven't said how long this 10 o'clock curfew is going to go. So I was talking to one of your amazing chefs, and we're saying if everyone has to be out by 10, what time does that mean that the kitchen has to close so that they can have time to prepare? Does that mean that, you know,
the staff, it doesn't concern. What New York State is looking at is they don't want
consumers.
They don't want consumers. They don't want you doing business after 10 o'clock.
Well, it says you could do carry out. If you're
exactly. They don't want you partying. They don't want you having a good time. These guys are the party police.
Well, because when you have a good time, you're taking off your mask. I saw where there were some really large parties that happened on Halloween, since Halloween. One particular party that they closed down in Williamsburg had somewhere between 300 and 400 people. And in my head, I'm saying, was it worth it? Because multiple people got fined, and I think the maximum fine that you could get is like $15,000 and your liquor license taken for one night.
So here's the travesty about the whole thing. The largest parties right now that are happening are not even happening in establishments. People are having private parties all over the city.
Absolutely.
In lofts, in hotels, you name it. It's all hush hush, and that's where you have people congregating by the hundreds, tightly
in their houses.
Now, you're punishing us that are trying to do things the right way.
Yeah.
But you're not going. You're keeping a blind eye. And listen, if you want to go find those spots, they're very easy to find because the promoters have to promote.
Yeah, they're on social media.
So it's not that hard.
Yeah, they're promoting it with secret location.
Oh boy. You know, like a cop can't be a fan that wants to go. Hey, where's the secret? I want to buy tickets. $50, $100. I want to buy a couple bottles.
But then I think also,
so it's really stupid. That's why I said, like, whoever comes up with this stuff, either they're very ignorant or they're sheltered.
But you have to do something because they also see all the revenue that's going south. So look at Texas. I know
the revenue is still going to stay with these illegal parties.
Well, yeah, but they are knocking down some. So look at Texas. Texas is the first state to reach 1 million coronavirus infections. 1 million has arrived.
At the end of the day, look, and don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking these parties. If you want to party. Because if you're going to get sick, you got nobody to cry to. You put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, believe it or not, they're still crying.
You put yourself, so that's what you wanted to do. That's what you got to deal with. So, you know, I'm not saying these parties should end, but what I'm saying is, if you want to go after people, go after the problem, the real problem.
Parties that are live.
Not us. You know, hunting. You know, we got to review. Your customer was upset with you asking them to put on their mask.
Yeah.
They put on yo. I'm not trying to. And this lady. Excuse me. This is a freaking job.
And that's what I tell people.
Moron.
That's what I tell people. You got, if you sit down, you don't have to
win.
If you get up, you have to put the mask on. So now I compliment people and I say, oh, I know you're very handsome. You don't want to cover your face, so we need you to, so we don't get about it.
And then they come here and fine and police and fine and look, a friend of mine was trying. That's the advice I told a friend of mine. He was trying to get into a spot. I said, don't go into any legal spot and try to have a party because you're going to do more damage than good. Go get your illegal loft and do whatever because the cops just won't even look there unless somebody dies in there or there's a fight. They might come to check on y'all.
Yeah, that's
so. Let it be a legitimate business.
And you're
on the radar.
No, that's true. You're on the radar. You're on social media. I was gonna say something else just a second ago, and now it slips my mind.
Anyway, but we're gonna continue to try to do the best we can, and I think De Blasio is just kind of tired of it all. Everything he says, Cuomo just kind of, is gonna like counter him or put him in his. I think he's just like, fuck it all, man. Like y'all got it, it's whatever.
Well, no, today I watched him and what's it, De Blasio or Cuomo, but there is something new that they have, which took us forever to come out with it. So when we were locked down, I have a girlfriend, her name is Anna, she's Korean, and she was explaining to me why so many of her staff, when the lockdown first happened, decided to leave the United States and go back to Korea during the pandemic. And it's because whenever there's something like this, a pandemic outbreak in Korea, they take care of their people very well. So if you're forced to stay in your house, the country will put together a care package and they send it out to you, and it's filled with items to help you fight the
I guess they don't have Democrats and Republicans.
Maybe, but it's geared to fight the virus. They give you PPE. They give you vitamins and things to build your immune system. So she sent me a picture of the box. The reason why I'm saying that is because now, if you are a person who has been around someone who has coronavirus, or you're traveling and you're coming in, we have this whole New York State sponsored package. So you dial 311, you're going away, you can't stay at home because you have family members to quarantine. They've had it for a little while. You call them, they'll put you in a hotel, but you got to stay the entire 15 days. Now they have this care package where you can call 311 and they'll send you out this box. And the box has PPE in it. It has thermometers. It has it's free. It's absolutely free. And it has a home testing kit. Right? And the testing kit has a little container, it has the swab. And
that's exactly what we should have had in February.
Right.
February.
Yeah, and that was the point that my friend Anna made. But now they have it where you can call, and the thing that's interesting about it, where the woman who's in charge, the doctor who's in charge, and she is a doctor, a person of color, a brown person, and she was explaining how the test works, and there's a free mailback package that you put it in and you send it off, and you get your results within 48 hours. So that's the part to me that was interesting, because you're going to mail it. We already have slow snail mail. I don't know how they're expediting it, but it typically takes 48 hours, she said.
Okay, I have you just said something that just set off a bulb, right?
Uh-oh.
Testing. If you have the slightest cold, don't you assume the worst?
Well, I would say yes, because the other day my throat was kind of itching, and I was saying, wait, is this coronavirus? And especially
and I'm going to medicate myself as such.
Well, yeah, but medicate yourself as such is one thing, but the actual testing.
Okay. What I'm saying is, and I'm just trying to say that if I'm not feeling good, if I have a temperature, if I'm sneezing, if I'm coughing, I'm going to the hospital.
Well, so that's what they're encouraging you not to do, which is what they said before. Don't come to the hospital.
I'm not saying the first. I'm going to take the things that I can take, right? Mm-hmm. And if it's not getting better, because it's the same thing with the test, right? You're tested to see if you're positive. Okay, so once you're positive, what? You go in?
Right. So once you are declared positive, they then give you the steps of how you quarantine. Let's say it comes back and you say you're positive. This is the part.
I think you should quarantine from the minute you start feeling the fever and all of that.
Maybe you should, and that's one of the things they say. You should self-quarantine, period. But you're saying we're talking about two different things now. Once you know you're positive, you definitely have to quarantine. But what was interesting, they gave the statistics where they talked about a vast majority of people who live in New York City are in a roommate situation. And they talked about the percentage of people, let's say it's 3 people in a house. One person is infected with COVID. I believe she said there was something like a 57% chance that someone else in the household would become infected with COVID as well. And it generally happens within the first 5 days of contact, which is why they tell people to immediately quarantine. So if you think you've been exposed to someone or you traveled out, you shouldn't go around your family members. And so I think she said...
And they also said that wearing masks prevents you from... No, they said it goes both ways. Not only does it protects others, but it protects you too.
Protects you too. It slows down the spread.
CDC finally said that yesterday.
But they've always said that.
No,
we had that on our Zoom calls, because I'm the one that kept saying it. It's, if you go and look at it in my videos,
goes both ways.
It's absolutely.
And I think that's the main reason why New York is doing so much better, because literally, when you go in any store, everyone has a mask on.
Not everyone.
Well, the stores I go to.
So, what's interesting to me, very nice grocery store that I've been shopping in the last month and a half. They were able to get some of that pandemic money, and they invested in their grocery store and did a rebuild. I walked past 4 young black men. Looked like they might have been 23 to 28. 3 of them had on a mask. 4th one did not. And I guess he looked in my eyes and he said, "What? All of y'all got on masks, so I'm good." And I looked at him and I said, but that's not the point. You're supposed to wear a mask to come into the grocery store.
Humans are stupid. And look, and I'm just at a point, like, some people want to die. Let them die.
Well, the better
Humans
answer is, I was talking to my friend Daniel, shout out to Daniel in London, and I was talking about the coronavirus. Daniel lives in London. London is currently locked down. Daniel doesn't know anybody who's ever died from the coronavirus. What's wrong, Johnny? He doesn't know anybody who's died from the coronavirus. So for him, it's like, I don't think I need to wear a mask. I'm not interested in taking a test. I don't know anyone who's died from it. And so when I'm talking to him, he's like, oh, come to London. Someone invited me to go to London this week. And I was like, I don't know, you guys are locked down and I'm going to have to take a test. And he was like, I don't think it's so bad. Nobody's really dying here. And so I said to him, I said, you don't know anybody who's passed from the coronavirus? And he said, no, I don't. And those are the people. I said, well, what about all the deaths? It's going to be much to do
about nothing at the end of the day. Like I said, just on my advice is, on a personal level, like I've always been saying, is keep your medications, not drugs.
Yeah.
Your immune boosters. You know what I mean?
Herbal tea.
Your immune boosters. Your sea moss. Your ginger, your garlic. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Have your sanitizer. Just have your little pack. Go about your life, though. Like, I missed the movies. I finally, yesterday, I had a day off. It was Veterans Day. I stayed home, and the whole family said it was like the best day in the world. We stayed home. We watched movies. No, we watched movies at home. Yeah. Watched movies at home, and it was great to do nothing. Like, we've just...
Well, you're always going. There are a lot of people who have been doing nothing for
I realized that. But we couldn't do, so we were late to get up today. And I was like, listen, we don't get 2 days off now. Everybody get your butts up. Set the clock. Let's go.
You have a busy family all the way down to little JoJo.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, he was up there at 5 something.
That is amazing. So I think that we've covered a lot of ground. For me, I'm concerned. I don't want to be locked in, but I do have something funny to ask you. So in the last week, of course, this is a really difficult week for me. Tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of my grandmother passing last year, which triggered my trip outside of the country when she passed. And I've had a couple of invitations to return to Nigeria for Christmas. And so whenever I speak to my friends that are in Nigeria, they're saying, oh, coronavirus is not here, it's gone, it's done. And I'm really debating whether or not I think it's really done. Because for me, I'm like, maybe you guys have this immune system over in Nigeria where, you're not eating the same kind of things that I eat here. I don't know if I should go. Would you go to Nigeria at Christmas?
Absolutely. That's been the mystery about this whole disease, is that we just don't understand it. And that's why in the beginning, a lot of people were bolder than they needed to be,
right?
And it cost them lives. Same thing now. I mean, some they're not testing. They're definitely not testing the way Americans are lining up to test. So
that's why like, how do you know that the coronavirus?
They don't know. I mean, and this is what makes.
You see what the bodies are
Trump's troops, This is what they love about him. He says common sense things, but they're still stupid, Listen, I'm more frustrated with Nigeria because I don't really see any hope. This country is ruled by a bunch of old people that technology, like society has passed them.
Right.
And they're trying, like, what they're doing now? they're naming SARS and SARS activists as terrorists. Like that's their response. Like that's gonna be their official take now that these people that were crying out for their human rights are terrorists. Like
did you see that Canada?
I don't even know if I would want to go back to Nigeria.
So Canada granted DJ Switch asylum as of Monday. So she's now in Canada.
Let me finish my point about Nigeria. And then these goddamn pastors that all supported Trump, that all had prophecy, that all
that Trump had
I think they're here voting Republican.
Yeah, no, I get
this
that.
Christianity thing in Nigeria is beyond out of control. It is taking the minds of the entire country and just they're like zombies. Yeah. They're waiting for this huge manna coming to drop down from heaven. They're praying for money that's never gonna come without them actively doing something for it. Mm-hmm. Like they just want money to drop down.
Yeah, I saw that.
They just want to be rich tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw all of
and they're gonna pray so it's gonna happen. Or Jesus is coming. He's coming tomorrow. He's coming to save us.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of that country.
My friend told me. It's not just Nigeria though.
I know that.
It's not just
but
I think it's
that's all they do there. That's all they do. They don't do anything else. Pastor Chris, all these ridiculous human beings spreading garbage into the minds of these people. I remember, rest in peace, Jerry Rawlings. I remember in the 80s when Ghana was behind Nigeria. And that man was like, nope, I got a plan for my country. And started rebuilding Ghana. And look at them today. And I'm proud of what they've done. They didn't do it going to church.
Right.
They stuck their hands in the ground and built their country.
MJ. I know I saw her.
And Nigerians need to wake up.
Yeah, they do. But meanwhile, it's Christmas season and everyone's starting to fly to Nigeria starting December 1st. And I will tell you, I have some friends there. They are partying. Last Wednesday night is big movie night, movie release night in Lagos and Lekki. And they had some release of some movie called Rattlesnake. And the amount of celebrities was, I don't even know what movie that is. But it was superstar studded. There was Ace of Spades everywhere.
All imported money.
Yeah, you would.
All money is coming in and is going out. It ain't helping nobody.
Yeah, you wouldn't
We're
even
just
know.
pissing it out and shitting it out. That's all we do.
Oh my goodness.
That's all we do. That's what and oppression and to show off. To show off.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything constructive. Anything.
Yeah, and I keep asking my friends.
You still have no light. How do you have a country where there's no?
Oh yes, the light.
You take the light away. You sitting there like a dickhead in darkness.
Yeah, when I was in the first time it happened while I was in Lekki, I almost jumped through the window, and my friend Sima looked at me. She said, "Oh yeah, the light still goes out here." It was pitch black. I was terrified, but she had a generator, so it came on.
It's tiring. It's tiring. You want to do something for them and you want to help them, but they don't even give you a lane to get in.
Yeah.
To try to help. You can't even give you a lane, an avenue.
And it's interesting because I think I learned that at the same time that Dubai received all of its money that allowed them to build all of this magnificent architecture and things, Nigeria had the same money going into it.
Yeah, it's not the same money, but it's all money. And once again, we don't control nothing. You have Exxon and Shell and these companies that get the bulk of the money.
Oh, okay.
But the money, we still got money. But what are we doing with it? Yeah. You raid some of these politicians' homes, they have $50 million in cash laying in the basement. Do you know how much money that could do?
Yeah. Yeah, I think during the SARS movement, the NSARS movement, they released a list of a lot of the politicians who had money abroad here in the United States. And I think didn't like the president's wife has X amount of $1 million in a Wells
the
Fargo.
richest ones.
Yeah, in a Wells Fargo account.
She's one of the richest ones. But he wants to be Mr. Anti-Corruption. I'm sick of them. Seriously. I'm sick of everywhere. I'm sick of here, sick of there. I don't know where I'm going to go.
And you can't go to the Congo because
I'm definitely not going to
the Congo. There is a lot of protesting going on.
And I'm sick of these protesters too. I'm sick of these black people here too. I'm sick of everybody.
Really? Why the woke people?
I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Except for when they tell you you're not woke, then you're the problem.
You know, once they could decide with Trump, that's where then it ended. And
I missed that.
Most of them went with Trump. And we try to tell them like you're on a losing. Like, are you retarded? Are you crazy? Someone spits in your face and you wanna carry their water?
Well, that's what a lot of
if you don't understand self-respect, dignity, then we have nothing in common. You don't say, "Oh, we need a kick in the butt." We've been getting our ass kicked for 400-500 years, so we need more of it to do what?
Yeah, I mean that was one of the main points when that video came out that went viral with all the Nigerians marching in their Trump attire and screaming Trump, and people were like, "How?" It was a Nigerian voice that was covering the story, and she was like, "Even though President Trump said we live in a shithole, they're still screaming Trump for president, and these are Nigerians."
And I'm supposed to go there and have a good time? How?
Well,
you know, over there, you can smack people. I'll be smacking people left.
I know. It's really nothing to laugh at, but I wanted to make sure. I met DJ Switch last year during Better Times, and I thought she was just a phenomenal person, really bright. But watching her transition from like the celebrity-looking person to those days when she was literally running for her life and dipping in and out when they were shooting was that was huge to me. It was very sad, and I'm glad to see that she's safe. But you have to ask yourself, if you take asylum in the United States, she now has to rebuild her entire business portfolio. Is all of her music and everything she was doing was in Nigeria. Hey, JoJo.
I just don't know, man. Like, nowhere is interesting anymore. Nowhere.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where I wanted to go.
I just want the next administration. I just want a new administration. Like, I'm more willing to give Biden and Harris a chance to earn my citizenship back than anywhere else right now. Because
and I think that's the point.
Everywhere else just is still stuck on stupid.
Yeah, they're not the exact correct answer. Like, they're not the fix-all. The first things to do what Nigeria's asking for. Get good government. So now we have new governments. And now in, what is that, like 55 days or whatever it is, you have to start setting the expectations or opening the line of conversation for what you want to see done under the new president.
So imagine what this guy's trying to do. This is what Nigerians have had to endure. We've had, from Abiola's time, like, elections, you declare a winner, and the government won't give it to him. And then they even killed them. Yeah. Can you imagine a whole country, the hope, you're killing our hope. Like, people voted, they got it, and they won't even allow it. Or the military comes in and swoops in. Like, this is what we've had to endure.
Yeah.
For decades, for generations.
Wow.
There's something wrong with these people. And they don't want to give up the power.
Well, would you? Because if you give up the power, what's going to happen to you? You're going to jail.
People like me don't ever get that kind of power.
No, but I'm saying, realistically, what do you expect the sitting president to do? Do you expect him to say, "Oh, okay, let me step down"?
Why not? I'm not
because
doing a good job.
Where is he going to go if he steps down?
I don't want him dead. Nobody wants him dead. In fact, he would be revered if he stepped down.
If he stepped
listen,
down,
I ain't got it. Listen, can y'all come figure this mess out?
No, if he steps down, they're gonna do him like those warehouses of palliatives. They're gonna go in and take all his stuff.
No, that's when you subdue someone. When someone has been a tyrant for so long, you figure out a way to. That's what they did in Liberia. You know.
No.
Yeah. They figured out a way to overthrow him, and then they dragged him in the street. They killed him.
Oh, right. But there's like 776 members of the parliament in Nigeria. That's a lot of people.
It's too many. We went from 19 states to 36. For what? For what? More legislators. More money being wasted. It didn't help the country any.
I know. I think I'm hungry, Bob.
Me too. I've been fantasizing about jollof and suya.
I was, and our videographer, he's eating. I got hooked on the short ribs, and those short ribs are really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
That's why I took them off the menu, so it's like a secret thing. Yeah.
Oh,
so you won't find them on the menu unless you're ordering one of our prefix dinners, which are gonna hit you for about $60 or $90. Yeah. So they're on that menu, but they're not on the regular menu. And the only way to get it is by asking for it. So you gotta know.
You gotta know the secret.
Yeah, you gotta exactly. So if you're watching, you know that we got short ribs, but it's not on the menu. So you can ask for it.
It's delicious. It's delicious. Okay, well, you guys, thank you for joining us. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. Next week, we should have go back to our standard format where we have a guest.
Maybe next week. I can't concentrate while Trump is in power. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like there's so much work I try to get done, and I just can't concentrate while this man is still refusing the obvious. So
well, I think he's going to refuse all the way through his.
So we may not have a guest till 2021.
Oh goodness, but that's okay. We'll have some exciting things to say.
Sister Olive's here.
I said Sister Olive came to eat and have a little cocktail. She said, "Don't ask her nothing." Well, guess what? Yeah, your man disappeared on us. He's no longer part of the show, but it's all in congratulations because he's a new contract that'll keep him from being here at 4.
Wink, wink. Come on.
I was like, don't you put that out in the internet?
Olive, you were his savior. He couldn't wait to get you. You were his savior. He couldn't wait to get you up there. No, sit. I'm telling you how he talked about you to us. No, that's what he did.
I love her. For those of you who can't hear, she said,
I'm not.
We're not speaking.
We're not going to
So you guys,
we're not doing anything. We are getting off the show.
We are. And Miss Olive says next Thursday you guys come down. Miss Olive likes margaritas. Is it margaritas that you like? The drinks. So you all make sure that you come down and you treat Olive to a margarita. Huh? A margarita. I didn't say anything else. Okay, thank you guys. We're going to sign off for today. It's been a great show. I am starving. My stomach's rumbling.
Peace.
As they say in the back, my stomach is touching my back.